Hi, welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. I'm your host, Brian Koval. Before we get started, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. If you want to see me play your favorite deck or your spicy brew on the channel, I take donation deck lists. I'll do a deck tech, play a full Magic Online League, and help tune your list. If that sounds good, check out my contact info. It's in the video description below. Now let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and this is Bug Loam Midrange from Patreon subscriber Hunter. I've played a deck similar to this on the channel before. If you're out there in the Legacy queues, I'm sure you've seen this archetype. It's pretty prevalent. After the Oko and Heart Arcanist bans, the metagame went straight to figuring out how to Uro most efficiently, and comboing it with Life from the Loam made a lot of sense because this puts cards in your graveyard for escape. It puts Uro in your graveyard directly if you dredge into it, and it also fills your hands with lands to pay off with the Uro trigger. So this interaction makes a whole lot of sense. So what we're doing around this is we've got basically a bug mid-range control deck. This has existed basically as long as Legacy has, and draws to this sort of archetype are Baleful Strix, Abrupt Decay, Assassin's Trophy, Leovold, and Thoughtseize for the most part. And you get all the blue cards you'd expect: Brainstorm, Ponder, Forces. This version has a Jace and a Snapcaster Mage. And the cool thing that you get when you add Life from the Loam is you get these, you can squeeze people out with Wasteland. You get these card draw engines with Cycling or the Horizon land mechanic, pay one, tap, sack, draw a card. And of course, Field of the Dead, crushing endgame against anyone who can't kill you very quickly. And we get this super sweet Raven's Crime, so you can turn those lands into cards out of your opponent's hand. So there's a little bit of something going on for everyone here. This is the sort of deck that you will always have the tools to beat anyone. It's just if you can get them, draw them in the right order, or find them in time, or just the problem will be drawing your cards that don't line up right, not just simply not having an answer. That is the appeal of this sort of deck. The only change I made from the 75 that Hunter sent me originally was Hunter had 2 Raven's Crimes. I switched one for an Intuition. Raven's Crime is the kind of card that, I mean, kind of by definition, you only need one. Retrace is a mechanic that you can cast this card from your graveyard if you discard a land in addition to its other costs. So the second Raven's Crime isn't very good, but Intuition in this deck, you can Intuition for Raven's Crime, Loam, and Uro. And a lot of decks will have trouble beating that. If you just are desperate for a removal spell, Intuition for 2 Decays and a Trophy, just get 3 Strixes. There's Intuition packages here to enjoy. If you already have Loam, you can get like Wasteland, Field of the Dead, Waterlogged Grove, and just go off there. So I've liked Intuition in this sort of package. I'm not sure if Intuition's really necessary for the deck, but I definitely like it better than the second Raven's Crime, so I'm going to try that. Sideboard is things you'd expect. Ways to beat combo. We got Flusterstorm, Thoughtseize, Surgical Extraction, Collector Oof, and then Crop Rotation, where we bring in Karakas and Bojuka Bog. So the main deck is very good against anything fair. The sideboard is stacked against combo. If you watch my channel, you're familiar with that formula. So let's get into these games. All right, so on the play for round number 1 here, and I'm going to keep this hand. We got Ponder, Force, and Loam. That covers a lot of bases that might need to be covered. And I even get to fetch a basic land to kick it off here. I don't know what I want yet with the Ponder, but I know I'm good on lands for a while. 2 fetch lands with Loam. We're set up for quite some time. So basically just looking for generic spells here. Abrupt Decay is good. Force of Will is fine. I'm going to stack them in this order because Force Pitching Force is about as good as it's going to get if this is a fair matchup. If it's a combo matchup, then it doesn't really matter. But Snapcaster Mage, I would like to recoup the cards lost by casting this Force by using the Snapcaster Mage later. We got Once Upon a Time here. So time to figure out if we're playing against Eldrazi, Elves, Maverick. Alright, so Wooded Foothills was the find. Corrected immediately. Bayou. Okay, looks like a Hogak style deck is what we're playing against here. This is worth a Force of Will to me. This just sets up so many things. And Force of Will really doesn't do much for this matchup. So I'm going to get a basic Forest and cast my Loam. Just start to reload here. Unfortunately, the Bojuka Bog's in the sideboard, but the good news is we have Bojuka Bog in the sideboard, so it doesn't help for this game. It might be hard to beat this deck playing fair and square. The fact that we have this robust sideboard plan is good news. Just the crop rotations with the bog. That's really powerful against decks like this. Oh, do they have another one? Yep. Alright, so they have Putrid Imp in their build. So this is a pretty turbo version. And Cabal Therapy would be pretty brutal here. Because they'll get one card for sure when they flash back. And then depending on the soul reads, we'll see what they get. I imagine you would blind name Crop Rotation because it's the card you're most worried about. And also a card that I might actually have. Putrid Imp is scary. But I do have the Decay for it, so it's not that bad. Pretty sure I'm just going to start aggro dredging. So I can Thoughtseize them, but a lot of their cards they could just put in the graveyard anyway if they want to. Like, I'm trying to figure out what card they would want in their hand. Decaying Imp is probably just the play. Snapcaster Ponder is also reasonable here. I think I want to decay the Imp. What does that do for me? It takes them off Hogak, because if they discard like Vengevine, then cast Hogak, I'm not going to play around Wasteland here. I'm going to start fixing my mana. So like if they discard Vengevine, then use the Imp to cast Hogak, that's a line that makes me want to just main phase removing that. It just died, they didn't even discard. I'll take that. Oh, Lotleth Troll. That's another Putrid Imp. This is just another thing that can discard at will. But I can Snapcaster Abrupt Decay on this if they don't have a black source to leave up Regenerate. Taken one. So they just discarded Sylvan Safekeeper and Putrid Imp. I'm interested where this is going. Because I can Snap Decay this thing, and then it's just dead, and it takes all these cards with it. Like, I don't have Lightning Bolt that they need to worry about and to grow this troll on their own turn. They just said, helps if I read my cards first time playing this. Alright, that helps me because I was trying to figure out why they would do that, but the answer is they probably shouldn't. And that answer makes sense to my brain. I'll take it. I will also take the free Mind Rot attached to them not knowing how their cards work. Hogak is not an intuitive archetype, especially this like weirdo turbo discard version. So the old Abrupt Decay, Mind Rot, split card, cast with Fuse for free. I'm not ready to block this thing. It looks like their hand doesn't really pop off, and the last thing I want to do is give them a chance to hit cards that matter. Another Once Upon a Time. Oh, they found that was slick. They played Cavern on Zombie before they cast Once Upon a Time. Then Once Upon a Time found a zombie to cast a 1-mana zombie. Good run. Alright, so now I can fetch with Misty, loam up 2 things, and that leaves up Abrupt Decay or Cycle Triome. Those both look pretty good. I'm probably going to have to block, because I'm just going to die in 2-point chunks if I don't do something about this. And at this point, their hand is down to 2 cards. Alright, here they come. Let's see if I've made a huge mistake. That found them a Hogak. They don't currently have 2 things to do with it. Alright, so I'm going to cycle my Triome and Dredge Loam off the draw. I'm trying to dump an Uro into my graveyard, and I found one. Alright, so I can land Uro, green, blue, green, blue. I'm just eating things that I can't get back or are not important to get back. Alright, so now I can Intuition in the end step. I think that's better than Loaming, and now Uro is just in play. If I Intuition for Field of the Dead, I'll be able to loam it up and put a bunch of stuff into play, make a bunch of zombies, and then I think that might be good enough to beat, like, them being mostly Hellbent here. There's no Vengevine in the graveyard. Finding that Supplier is good, though. We'll see. I could definitely still lose this. So they can cast Hogak now, because they have 2 black creatures. Okay, I was about to say I guess I could have decayed to stop that from happening, but they're just had a million 1-drops anyway, so I'm glad I didn't. I'm about to cast Intuition and try to figure out how I beat just an 8/8, because it's not necessarily obvious how to do that. Where'd they get 2 cards in their hand? Thought they were pretty close to Hellbent, but then they just did a bunch of stuff and still have 2 cards. Alright, so I better get the Forest, make sure this Polluted Delta can still fetch things. Yeah, I'm actually out of fetchable lands. See if I can make this bigger. So I have this island, and then after that, yeah, the remaining fetch lands don't get anything. Alright, so time to Intuition. I would like, I guess Trophy does kill Gak, but not in a way that is important to me. So I want Field of the Dead, Wasteland, and Raven's Crime. I think I like that spread, because I can start constricting their mana, and eventually have a zombie army that can overwhelm Hogak. The Loam's already in my hand. I can attack with Uro to get some extra land drop triggers. They gave me the crime. Alright, so Loam up. Oh, wait. I want the Triome, not the fetch land that doesn't get anything. So I'll get these. Play field, get a Zombo, and crime their hand away. Oh, I gave them a Vengevine. Whoops. It's fine. Alright, so blue, blue, green, green. So I can attack with Uro, put in Wasteland. Uro dies, I can re-Uro. I don't get to also crime their last card, but I think that's okay. Alright, so do I want to dredge Loam off this draw? I don't think so. Oh, drew Jace. Nice job. Totally did that on purpose. Was in complete control the whole time. Alright, so Uro dies. That's fine. Then I can Wasteland, Bayou, bring back Uro, blue, blue, green, green. I'm holding a Loam so I can exile the other one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get another Wasteland. I'll take that. Strip them off of being able to play the game. Oh wow, they conceded. Oh yeah, because if they attack with Hogak, I just double block and then they're out of gas. Okay. Alright, turn the corner slightly faster. I got lost in the weeds there for a second. Didn't realize how close we were to just winning. So, opponent, by their own admission, didn't play that perfectly. Like, they discarded those 2 cards for no reason off Lotless Troll. And, I mean, I don't know what their deck does exactly. So, good luck to them playing it for the first time. But I will do my best to beat them anyway. So, Bojuka Bog and crop rotations come in. You could argue for the Karakas just as a repeatable bounce for the actual Hogak, but they can also go wide with all their other creatures, so I'm not super sold on that. Plague Engineer on Zombie does sweep up a lot of stuff that they try to do, so what is not so good? I don't think I like Forces in this matchup. My opponent has discard, presumably, and I don't like Raven's Crime. Thoughtseize might be okay, but Raven's Crime, where they just get to control what they discard. Maybe I don't want Thoughtseize either, now that I'm saying that out loud. So Flusterstorm, Carpet, Oof. So Oof you can bring in. I didn't see Altar of Dementia, either in their mills or, obviously they didn't play one. But Oof is something you might want for Altar, but there are decays here. Trophy kills Hogak. So I think the Engineer is something that I do want. Being able to just lock out Bloodgas or Grave Crawlers is pretty nice. And I think that's as good as I'm going to get. I could just go completely 0 or significantly fewer forces. Like I could go down to 1 or 0 and get the Karakas in. Baleful Strix trades, Jace bounces. Maybe Karakas is better than Jace. That is a 4-drop against a deck that can kill a lot faster than that. Alright, I think this is a presentable deck. Let's do it. And I'm leaving in the Fatal Pushes, where I wouldn't against some builds of Hogak, but this one with the Lotless Troll and the Putrid Imp, I feel like we're going to have to answer those. Uh-oh, this is so close. With a green source, I'm jamming this. But I do have my 1 force, and I have Wasteland. I'm going to keep, or one of my 2 forces. So if they do something explosive on turn 1, I can force it, and then Wasteland might take them off the ability to play the game. We'll see how it goes. Alright, so they hit a hollow one off Once Upon a Time. Now they're cracking their fetch. Stitcher Supplier. I mean, that's what I signed up for, right? Force this thing, pitch Strix, gonna crack off this Wasteland, and hope that the game is over. Or just draw a green source. Or I'm just trying to bridge the gap into finding a green source, mostly. Get you out of here. Alright, green source. Easy money. Alright, now we have a plan. We're still hyper reactive here. Can't cast Assassin's Trophy. Well, that Wasteland's not looking good right now, but they're not really doing anything either. All right, now we can cast Trophy. We're going to be pretty slow to lose this game. There's just 4 interactive spells in the hand, but we're going to have to figure out how to win it. Lotus Petal. It's built for speed over there. Lotless Troll. That one will take multiple removal spells to destroy. Ooh, discarding a bunch of Vengevines over there. And Gak. Alright, there's the hollow one. That's how this works. Alright, so I'm going to crop rotate. I have to get a dual land to do it, so which one is less important overall? Bojuka Bog is a black source, so I'll get Bayou. Bojuka Bog, where are you? Right at the top. Bang. Alright, so I'll take that pressure off, but they still have 9 power in play, so we're not exactly off the hook here. Maybe they'll think this is worse than it actually is and concede, but they really shouldn't. They have so much going on. I think I blew it with the Bayou. Yeah, if I had... So, alright. hindsight is always 2020, but if I had gotten Bayou, or if I had gotten Tropical Island, flip that into Bajuka Bog, I could Bayou Fatal Push this end step, they regenerate it. Now if I do that, I just don't have any green to work with for these 2 trophies. Time to figure out how to actually get through this. The 1 regenerate is a problem. Jace was out of the deck. Yeah, that one, not... I thought about the level 1, like getting my colors online, but the like second order consequences of rotating my Bayou away, I did not properly consider. I guess I just take a draw here. Okay, so I get the Trop here. I guess I could have fetched Zagoth Triome at the end step. Yeah, so I want Trop, and then this is a zombie, because everything's a zombie. Yeah, I didn't need to do any of that, basically. I'm just gonna trophy their hollow one in their draw step. I'm gonna do it in their draw step. No, I'm not gonna do it in their draw step. So the reason to do it in their draw step is if they draw their basic land, then they don't get to search for it. The reason to do it now is to make sure it works. And I think getting it out of play, in case they draw like Veil of Summer, makes more sense than like the tiny percentage that if they even have a basic that they get to search for it. All right, so now I can tread water for a while. Like, yeah, I think I think putting this into play is worth doing. Get this into play, name zombie. It's a little awkward because that lets them mill 6 instantly with a Stitcher supplier. But it means future Lotlith trolls don't get to grow. Gravecrawler doesn't get to do anything. And it takes 1 damage off the board because it shrinks this. And then I can, if I start to tread water, like regenerating a creature taps it. So I can Fatal Push this, they regenerate it, and then, oh, I guess I'm going to play Strix though. So I can try to like absorb damage by Fatal Pushing and trophying this thing as time goes on. Oh, that was good. The troll does have trample, so Strix isn't a great solution. And by not great, I mean not a solution at all. I'm going to attack with Plague Engineer before I play Library, because if they do have something like Abrupt Decay, I want them to have to think about saving damage before they just get to pick off my card advantage engine. Yeah, now that Library's in play and I have damage on the board, the just treading water by firing removal spells into their reanimation or regeneration doesn't feel so bad. Like if I had committed to this 2 turns ago, I would have cast my Fatal Push, I would have cast Assassin's Trophy, and then nothing would happen. Okay, that was a really smart play. Yeah, they could have just hard cast the Vengevine, but they get to save regeneration mana by doing it this way. And now this Vengevine's going to be a huge problem. At least the Strix can remove it, but it does get to refire next turn. So I need to find Black Source. Yeah, if I can clear this. So I Uro here, she gains 3 life, draws one of these cards. I can Fatal Push the Lotlith Troll, and then block the Vengevine. And somehow Plague Engineer being dead is actually better than it being alive for me because the Gravecrawler doesn't just get to refire infinitely. Alright, so that's gone again. Beginning of combat, Fatal Push this. Alright, yep. And then it's tapped. I will take this trade and hopefully get Uro into play. Come on, Sylvan Library. I need you to save me here. Alright, there's the card I knew about. Here come the 2 fresh ones. Alright, so on top and on top, neither of these are helpful. And I don't want to go to 1, especially since I need this fetch land to play the game. So green, blue, green. I need a blue or a green source with this. We've got Underground Sea still on the deck. Green, green, blue, blue. Yep. Just making super sure this actually casts what I needed to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ripping a blue source off this Uro to get Strix into play would be pretty great. Yeah. My Snow Island should still be in the deck. Yep. Alright. Strix. Okay, so Strix can block the Vengevine if they can trigger it. Uro can chump the Lotless Troll, and I can refire Uro next turn and trophy the Troll to save another turn of damage. They do need a second creature to cast because my Engineer isn't giving them infinite Gravecrawlers. What a weird game. Alright, Crawler, Basking Root Wall, sure, that's a sweet one. Recently previewed that there's going to be a red root walla in Modern for Modern Horizons 2. Pretty exciting stuff. Modern is basically just becoming Legacy. I think they're going to print like everything that's not on the reserve list straight into Modern. Okay, so block this to stay alive. Block this. This isn't looking good. Lawless Troll is a house. My goodness. That turn on turn 3 when I didn't fully consider the implications of the land I was fetching turned out to be this whole game. Like, this game without Troll in play is a joke. But Troll is in play, so instead, my opponent is laughing and not me. Return to nature. Oh, bummer. Uro, I needed that. Okay. That makes things a lot harder. Probably. Okay. That's a good one. Alright, so put this on top and, well, can't pay for. Or shouldn't pay for. Put on top, put on top. So what can I do with this? I can remove one of these things permanently, or I can tread water for 2 turns. I guess I have to tread water. Like, they go to combat, I trophy this, they buff this, I kill it, I go to 1. Is now the time to brainstorm. I know that 2 of my top 3 cards aren't good, but I have library anyway. Black, green, black, green. Yeah, I can still cast both my removal spells if I do this. Put back these 2. Play Waterlog Grove just because I need to get moving forward in my deck. If they can trigger their Vengevine this turn, they win. But I'd be pretty impressed by that because they're currently Hellbent. They would need to draw a card that is 2 creatures. And so we go into combat. Trophy this. Neither of these say can't be regenerated, right? Nope. Alright, yeah, those were both printed after regeneration was really a thing in Magic. Alright, yep. You're regenerated. Good job. Attack with these 2. No blocks. Go to pump. Decay. I go to 2. I draw a card in the end step. It's a basic land. Then I look at 3 cards on my draw step. One of them is also a basic land. And the other 2 have to be good. Little too late here. Alright. GG. That was sweet. That was through a Bajuka Bog. But it's partially what I said about the I need to be able to kill them now. Like, I did make that game last a long time. Misfetching so I couldn't double removal spell the Lotleth Troll turned out to be that entire game. That's how they got Vengevine in the graveyard. That's how they triggered Gravecrawler. They just had a 9-power creature at the end of the game. All of those were relevant aspects of that game. So, ways that I have to remove a Lotleth Troll. Jace can bounce it, which I think is something I'm interested in. I have Force of Wills. I can like save them to fight over that specifically. Though I don't think that's really the plan. Yeah, I think I have enough ways to fight it. I just need to plan for it better. And the Jace being just an out to bounce the 9-power thing, make it a 2/1 again, is pretty nice. Okay, let's do this. All right, on the play, of course, I have the Caracas for any potential Hogak shenanigans, but I don't have a black source, and my only blue source hurts me. Though I think this is worth the risk, because I have so much selection here. Removal, and yeah, I think I just have to like this. If this were Tropical Island or Basic Island or any other blue source, this hand would be a slam dunk. So I am going to commit to using my life total as a resource and keep this hand, as if this was just an island. Though I am not happy about it. Kick things off with a Ponder. Alright, yeah, Uro makes this hand a lot better. Imagine that. Uro improving a hand of magic cards. Alright, so I have my black source set up. I can even brainstorm into the Fatal Push next turn and really clean up this land situation. Don't have any hate cards yet, except the Caracas, which really doesn't answer a huge axis of the deck. Like, people who are like, I'm fine against Hogak because I play Caracas, are just not understanding what's going on in these matchups. This does take one slim axis of pressure off, but that's generally not the whole plan. Wooded Foothills, headed to the graveyard. The Supplier. Alright, they've had the Supplier all 3 games. This is the first game I didn't have the Force for it. Certainly not complaining, because it is, I boarded out the Forces. We started with the same number of each, but then they ended up with a whole lot more going on. So, hitting the Vengevine is a bummer, but I can Fatal Push that. I can Brainstorm, fetch, Fatal Push if they can get it going. So, and then I just convert into Uro on the following turn. They need 2 1-drops to make this happen, though. Certainly, the deck is capable of doing that. But that's a good one. Ooh, they have Hogak. Alright, that pressures their graveyard in a way that is meaningful, and it it pays off this Caracas. I'll take that. Could have been worse. All right, so I brainstorm here. Yeah, that's a lot of lands I don't need. Tropical or Misty Rainforest and probably regular forest can go. Okay, I have to cast the Fatal Push this turn. I want the Caracas for Gak. Or maybe it's Snapcaster. I think it is actually Snapcaster because I do need the ability to cast this Uro. So I'm going to get Underground Sea with this, and that gives me blue, blue, green, green to rebuy Uro later. So Underground Sea. Let's hope they don't have Veil of Summer to just send me into the Stone Age. Alright, cool. Survived. Does Prismatic Vista do anything important? It sets up this Brainstorm, which means I want to save it. So, Forest. I've taken a bunch of damage. Uro is going to undo some of that damage from the Waterlogged Grove. Caracas, get in there. Save me. I need you. Now I just have to hope their hand doesn't really do anything. Their board is pretty anemic at this point, with the accounting for the Caracas on Hogak. But if they can trigger this Vengevine with what's left in their hand, then I'm scared again. I have to bounce this pre-combat now or else it gets Shroud. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They would have to exile Vengevine to cast Hogak. So Vine's back. I'm taking 6 in this combat. Be a good time to find a Plague Engineer. Also, Uro is just pretty solid as a creature on this board. It's not that bad. This could be a whole lot worse than it actually is right now. Right, so the fetch land gives me the 5th source for Uro. I think I want to use Prismatic Vista. There are islands still on the deck. Blue, blue, green, green. That does do the job. Blue, blue, green, green. Exactly 5 in the bin. Uro's back. It's big, it's bad. Biggest thing on the board right now. Does this matter which one I put in? I don't think so. Okay, here we are. They have Hogak and 2 mystery cards in their hand. I have Brainstorm and a million lands in mine, plus the 6/6. If they do something to exile Uro, I can bounce it with Caracas. That is a play available to me. It's a way to gain some life in a pinch. So we'll see how I feel about all that. Hopefully they just can't do anything about it, and we're just... I hope they just cast Hogak and pass the turn. That's my dream scenario. I'm not getting that, though. Alright, those are 3 cards that didn't matter. Alright, Putrid Imp discarding Hogak. That gives this flying. That lets them bash, and that makes sense. That gives it the extra point of power. I'm going to block Vengevine, naturally. Take some points there. Clever. Vengevine came back instantly. Scary stuff. So this Brainstorm's got to be good at this point, because they have thoroughly overwhelmed my board. That clears the Gak, at least. It's a little late to the party. So, Catacombs and Loam can go. I already had a fetch land in play. I'm so dumb! I was like, I guess I have to make my land drop. But I actually didn't at all. No Island, Ponder, Shuffle. Those are the cards I just put back. Brainstorm. Leovold, do you do anything? I don't think so. Bayou is still on the deck. So there's Bayou. I can cast Leo. So if I don't attack, I block 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I guess I have to cast Leo here. Black, green. Okay, so on this board, block of 4, block of 4. I take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm still technically at 2. If I attack him at 10, block Vengevine, take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, that's no good. Alright, I guess I just have to hold up my blocks here. Don't get to attack with my arrow. Leovold just here to block. Alright, so they have elbow tap their creatures in for the attack. They'll make the blocks that... Oh, okay. For a second I thought I missed a Rootwalla, but it's actually Sylvan Safekeeper. Didn't miss a Rootwalla. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, these are forced blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I go to 1. So I can block like this. I can save Leovold by bouncing it, but I don't think that matters. Like, I'd rather have Vengevine off the board. So I can 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, yeah, so I get to attack with Uro, gain life, play Bojuka Bog. Now I just gotta figure out how to win this in 3 minutes. That's the hard part. This game has dragged on. We're both pretty low on clock, but I'm in the 3-minute danger zone and they're not. Alright, so I can attack with Uro, put in Bog you. That gets rid of Gak and Vengevine, puts me to 4. And then I can pick up Uro, play my Swamp for turn, blue, green, black, draw, gain 3, refire, bring back Uro, blue, blue, green, green, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, that was a pretty good turn. Come on, Moto. Precious seconds lost. Figuring out how to click my Okay, I'm at 10. They have no graveyard. Plague Engineer can sweep 4 of their 5 creatures next turn. If I find a wasteland, I can waste my own bog and clear their junk. Alright, cool. There it is. That's what I was talking about. So, boom, boom, boom. Name zombie. Wreck their business. Alright, they get to mill 9. Don't think they have any instants I need to worry about. Attack with Uro. Put in wasteland. I still have my land drop for the turn. Right, waste bog. Loam. These 3 cards. Bog you. They're at 6. Blue, black. Don't dredge Loam. And I'm just going to pass the turn. I should get on board, cast some spells, but I just want to use my time. Alright, GG's. That one came together right at the very end there with some cool tricks. On to the next round. I'm on the play for round 2 with kind of a stinker. If this hand is soft to wasteland, this hand could be reasonable, but I don't think this is a keep. Okay. This one's going to be a keep, and I'm going to send the Prismatic Vista to the bottom, probably. Because I have the spread of other fetch lands that can get basics if they need to, and they don't have to if I don't want them. Alright, so I'm going to stack it like this. Brainstorm's always good to have. I don't want to draw the Triome, and I can draw the land instead of the Brainstorm, just in case they blind therapy naming Brainstorm. And that's just would be too devastating to lose 2 of them, and it's basically free to play around. Alright, they shuffle to Ponder. I do have discard spells in my deck, so I should probably Brainstorm first. Get rid of... do I want to get rid of Triome now that I have the Loam? I guess I can fetch it, and then it's just in play. That's also an option. A reasonable thing to do. Alright, I'm going to put these back. I can just fetch the Triome and have perfect mana. Though this could be a back to basics deck. We'll see. Could also be a combo deck. So they have the shuffle for the Brainstorm. Abundant Harvest, alright. Okay, this is a fair deck. Could still have back to basics in it. I'm going to fetch my Triome. I still have Waterlog Grove if I want to get a Loam draw engine going. Just having all this nice juicy mana. I'm into that. So I could Brainstorm or I could Snap Ponder. I could also just fetch Loam, and then I have Loam active and a fistful of cards to Brainstorm with next turn. But I think Brainstorming now makes more sense. I'd like to get a look at this hand with a Thoughtseize before it's too late. Alright, that doesn't look like it's going to happen. Uro's going to be alright here. Decay can answer the Narset. So I don't need a million fetch lands because Loam's going to be active, and I don't think Fatal Push is going to be super important in this matchup. They could have Hull Breachers, but I'm willing to get got by that, I guess. So now the question is, do I respect the possibility of back to basics and get basic island, or do I just lean into this Uro and get something else? I think, because basic forest doesn't cast Strix, or else that would just be the get here. I guess I can play around a little bit. Is that important? This is just bug, right? Alright, just making sure that wasn't an off-color thing. Okay, I'm gonna cast Strix. Strix draws cards, which I want to get in now before this Narset shows up. Though, Life from the Loam does a really good job playing around Narset's restriction. You get to manipulate all sorts of stuff when you can Loam one of your draws and ignore this replacement effect. Don't think I'm gonna force the Narset. It doesn't seem worth doing. But now having Force of Will in case they have back to basics, that's nice. Would pitch Snapcaster Mage, I think. Uro, alright, yeah. You don't force that. So Uro has developed a land drop for them. This is probably going to be a Loam turn. Alright, so I'm going to lead on Loam, hope they don't have Force of Negation, but I can Force of Will if they do. And then the Polluted Delta can get Swamp to Thoughtseize with. Just didn't even have it. That's the best option, of course. Swamp. And I'm set up against back to basics now because this can get basic basic forest. And I already have the black source, so Abrupt Decay is live. Umasawa's Jete, Brazen Borrower, Icefang Quaddle, Narset. It's probably just Narset. Yeah, I'll get rid of Narset. So Brazen Borrower can tempo around Uro a little bit. Their Misty Rainforest can put their Uro on the stack, which I suppose I should Force of Will if they go for it. And if they want to fart around with Umasawa's Jete, I'm fine with that too. I have Decay going well for that. I think doing anything other than just jamming Uro onto the stack is probably pretty loose here. So it's a 2-for-1 either way. I can Force of Will the Uro, but then untap with my mana available, or I could just let them have Uro. And like the difference is they 2-for-1 by drawing a card versus 2-for-1 by me losing 2 cards. I'm going to let them. I can even Uro into Abrupt Decay, with what I have available. Alright, yeah, I won't have to worry about that for a little while. Like at least one turn cycle. Do I dredge Loam? I don't think so. Basic Forest here. Put in Uro. Leaving up Abrupt Decay mana for their Uro. Not dredging Loam. Alright, so I'm gonna give them the chance to equip their Uro with Jitte before I fire in the Decay and just hope they don't have main deck Veil of Summer. Really the only thing I'm worried about here. But if there's a chance to eat up 2 mana for free, I'm gonna do it. Alright, we got there on the eating 2 mana before the attack. Make sure I'm targeting Uro and not the Jitte. I'm just gonna be very careful about this. I hope this works. Alright, yep. Targeted the correct thing. Alright, so Uro's in the graveyard. They need 2 more cards there before they can get them back. Coatl can pick up the Jitte, but I can Uro on my turn. They have the Brazen Borrower, but I have Force of Will for it. I think it is time to Loam. So if I Loam these 3 things, I can fetch another green source, still Uro, still Force. There's also a Snow Forest in the deck. There's also all my dual lands still in the deck. My Force will probably pitch Ponder. Yeah, Snow Forest in the deck. And Uro. Don't need this land here anymore. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Left my removal in there for the Snapcaster. It's going to be the plan eventually. So they have Brazen Borrower. Alright, I didn't know about the Plow. That I do want to force. So they can, if they Brazen Borrower Uro, at least I get to keep pounding away on it. Do I dredge Loam here? I don't think so. I can dredge Loam whenever I need to. I guess with Snapcaster, but I have a bunch of stuff already in there that I like. So, what's the rush? Yeah, so Brazen Borrower can bounce Uro. That will lead to more cards over time. Now they're sort of in the spot where I was last turn, where it's like tread water through the Uro, try to race it, but like racing Uro when you're bouncing it and it's re-triggering all the time, it's kind of a losing proposition. Though Jitte is very powerful in this spot, this does swing the race in a meaningful way. And a 1/1 gets to attack for 5 instead of 1. That does pressure Uro. They get to put theirs back on the stack here. Yeah, the interesting axis this game's being played on right now is we have most of the same cards, but they have Jitte and I have Loam. Like those are the 2 swing cards. They also just briefly floated white mana. I mean, they have Plow in their deck too, which matters. But I mean, specifically with the face-up cards, like they have Brazen Borrower that bounce my Uro. I have Jace that can bounce their Uro. They have this that represents onboard card advantage. I have this that does a similar thing. Oh wow, they just use their green source to Abundant Harvest instead of borrowing. They must have Plow. That's the only thing that makes sense. Oh wow. Or not. Okay. Or they're just like, cool, letting my Uro crack. Teferi is a strong card though. I understand why they might not be super worried about that. Okay, so Jitte means that their Uro eats mine in combat. I see what they're lining up here. Not bad. I'm going to fetch because I really don't want to draw lands, basically, anymore. Like, at any point in this game. I have so many. Except Field of the Dead. That one's okay. I found a second Uro. That's pretty nice. So I can snap Abrupt Decay, their Uro, before combat. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I can also play Jace. Yeah, I like where that's going. So I need blue. That works. If they force Snapcaster Mage, it's fine. Still got a 2-for-1 out of it. And then that means Jace gets to resolve. Okay, force pitching Brazen Borrower. Alright, so they pitch their Brazen Borrower. They still have Teferi over there. So if I attack with Uro, what happens? I lose it, but I get to eat a Jitte counter. Get to resolve Jace. Yeah, I think I messed that up. I think I needed to bounce Uro, their Uro. I can also just refire mine. Like, this is not a huge problem. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if there are enough lands in my deck, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, yeah, there's not. Prismatic Vista is 1 short here, because there's only the 5 basics in the whole deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So otherwise, I would be able to get Jace and Uro back into play. There's Underground Sea. There's Tropical Island. I think bringing back Uro is still my best play. And leaving up the possibility of finding a... I guess I don't have... Oh yeah, if I find a colorless land, I can fire in the Jace as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I find like Wasteland here, I can cast Jace. Doesn't do a whole lot that I needed to do. Oh, hey! Got there. Okay, so Jace also gets to go on the stack. So blue, blue, colorless, colorless. So all right, I hit my out. What does it do? I can bounce their Uro. I could also just plus, but then they play Teferi. They bounce. Yeah, this Jitte is insane. Um, I think that bouncing their Uro is the best I'm gonna do here. Yeah, they're just like slightly ahead of me here. Like I'm just off balance enough to the Jitte that this isn't gonna do what I need it to. Oh baby, that's bad news. Now they can go face with the Coatl, still pick off Jace. Yikes. They got the full... Stoneforge Mystic has to be in this deck too. Like, Jitte is a card that you can just put in any deck with creatures for value, but seeing Sword of Fire and Ice as well, this is definitely a Stoneforge Mystic deck. Yep, and they know how to attack in the correct way to kill Jace and me. Yep, all these triggers. Jace is gone. They draw an extra card. Plague Engineer on Snake would have been good last turn. A little late now. So I can control them a little bit with Wastelands. So what do I need to do here? Jace is gone. This has protection from blue. So I need to Abrupt Decay this Icefang Coatl. There's one left in the deck. It's not looking good, team. Blue. I'm going to draw my extra card with this Uro before I shoot the other one out of the graveyard. I think having that in play where I can fetch it and exile it is worth doing. So Loam gets back, I think, just Wasteland. Or I should pick up one other one as well. Just for like brainstorm value, the reason to do that. There's nothing for this to fetch. I can eat it with Uro. Play around days, I guess. Green, green, blue, blue. 1, 2, 3, 4. Jace was already there. Right, here's Uro again. Sad, embarrassing Uro. Enforce a Will would be brutal. Yikes. They had it. They pitched their own Uro to do it, but they kind of built an Uro out of equipment and Icefang Coatl here. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They get to... I'm on a 2-turn clock, and they're drawing 2 cards per turn. It's a bad spot, and they get to hide behind Teferi to do it all. Got a Ponder on the stack. Teferi plussed. They got a lot of manipulation here. They really just have to keep me from triggering Uro for 1 turn, and they're good. Yeah, there's Stoneforge Mystic confirmed. Probably have 1 weapon left to get here, maybe a Batterskull. So they probably want to pile on the damage with Jitte. So I don't want to Dredge Loam because I need Abrupt Decay, but I also have to Dredge Loam because I can't get Uro in if I don't. So kind of in a real pinch here, it's safe to say. So I'll be dredging Loam and then getting back Uro, not dredging Loam on the Uro trigger, and hoping to find my last Abrupt Decay. Do I Loam? Green, green, blue, blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here we are, all in. We know they don't have Force because one of their cards in hand is Batterskull, and that's not how that works. But they did have Plow, though. That's a good one. Uro's gone. I get a chunk of life out of it, but probably doesn't matter. Not putting in these lands because they don't help me. Yeah, I am super dead here, but I will play until I break on the Abrupt Decay. Just name Snake with this. Absorb a little bit of damage, I guess. It can block Stoneforge Mystic, at the very least. So this will save 2 damage, maybe 4 if they choose to ping it with Sword of Fire and Ice. Or if they dump Jitte counters into removing it. They could also just completely ignore it and be fine. Yeah, here's the attack. They're just pumping Jitte counters into damage. Let's see if they even send the sword at the engineer. Do they even care? So does it change the clock if they do that? So they can put me to 10 right now and attack for another 8 next turn. Yeah, they spend 2 damage now to recoup 2 damage over the next 2 turns, or actually 3 if Stoneforge Mystic also attacks. So yeah, I think pinging it is right. So I have to... Oh, I can't even draw Abrupt Decay because they have Teferi, so I don't think I can win. I'm going to dredge Loam. I was going to say, in case I hit my last Uro, which I did, so we're here for that. I can just spew another fetch land into the graveyard, just to feed the beast. Alright, yep, not really much going on in there. Green, green, blue, blue. I will exile the 5 cards that I have to exile. Do they have a Force to hardcast? Dirty, dirty. Yeah, Teferi, not that I need to say this after all these years. It's been 2 years since Teferi was printed. We know what it does to a blue mirror, but yikes. And I will cast my Loam on nothing, because I have to keep dredging it if I want to play this game. It does at least keep Batterskull out of play for a turn. I'm only still in this game for 2 reasons. Secondarily, it's to get more information about their deck. Like, we played a long game here before I realized they had Stoneforge Mystic. If they have like Hull Breach or a Days Undoing, I want to know about that. We've seen Narset, but we haven't seen anything else that necessarily gives that away. Also, I'm up 5 minutes to them on my clock, and I want to push that advantage because both of our decks take a long time to win, especially in these scrappy mirrors or blue mid-range mirrors, blue suit mirrors. So there's the Batter Skull. They're going to move it over. I imagine is the reason they would main phase this, which is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 damage. Yeah, so they have lethal right now, and with Teferi, they know it's a sure thing. 11 damage. Ha, you don't even get your sword triggers because I'm already dead. Moral victory. Okay, so trophies coming in. Plague Engineer on Snake does do some amount of work. Carpet of Flowers, big deal here. I like Collector Oof. I like Liliana as a pivot. It's just another way to win the game. I like Thoughtseize here. And I like Surgical Extraction more than Bajuka Bog or Caracas as ways to answer Uro. And if I can exile their Uros and not have to worry about that access to the deck, that's pretty nice. So I don't think I want Engineer. I don't want this many forces. Just significantly fewer of those. They could have Rest in Peace in their sideboard, which is something I'm a little worried about. When I'm bringing in just a higher density of good cards, Intuition gets worse because I don't need to tutor for generic packages. I can just draw my good cards instead. I also want to hedge a little bit in case they are on a Rest in Peace plan. I mean, they have their own Uros, which doesn't mean they don't have Rest in Peace. They also have Stoneforge Mystic. They have other ways to win the game. So I've actually really enjoyed being white decks with Uro, like Bant decks or 4-color decks, and just bringing in Rest in Peace because people think you won't have it. And it's generally just, if you want Rest in Peace in a matchup, it's probably the best thing that there is. So got to find 2 more cuts. I want my Uros, want my Jace. I could go down to 1 force, which is really not very many, but they do have Teferi, which like is something I want to force, but it's also a reason not to have forces because if they do sneak one in, then I don't want to draw force. Maybe leave 1 in here to dig for when it's an appropriate thing to want. I'm going to get these out and then got to find 1 more cut. Sylvan Library is great. Thoughtseize great. I do like Fatal Push against the Stoneforge half of the deck. Strix is good here. Maybe I don't want this many trophies. Yeah, I think the first force is better than the 5th spot removal, like decay trophy kind of thing. This is where we are. This hand doesn't do anything. I'm gonna ship it. This one's good. I can fetch Underground Sea and do multiple relevant things. I have my 1 force in case I want it. So get my Underground Sea. I did not see Wasteland out of them. I suppose it's possible they have it, but I just hope they don't. Let's have a look. Ooh, 2 Uros, huh? And Ponder. I'm going to take Ponder. This hand doesn't look very promising without a Ponder in it. I mean, they have 3 lands and 2 Uros, so, I mean, they're not going to get screwed here. About an island? Alright, so I'm going to have to Ponder looking for my 2nd land here. Uh-oh. Yikes. Not like this. Alright, it's fine. At any point I find a blue or black source, the Strixes start chaining, and then we're in business. But these imminent Uros are a little scary. Alright, now they are less scary. That was like the 1 non-land card I was reasonably content to draw in that spot. So I imagine they just jam an Uro here. Like, what else would you do? Unless you... so they didn't play a white source, so they're not going to jam Teferi here. So they're going to get Uro. I'm going to exile it, plus the other one in their hand. And this is worth going deep on. I guess I can extract now before they put their land in because they sequenced it in this order. I could have saved 2 life, but I can play around Days, which I don't think they have, but I'm going to respect it. And because they stacked their things in this order, they're surgicaling their own Uro here. Yeah, so they're circling their own Uro, so I don't get the one from their hand also. Is this a Force of Will I want to fight over? So I get the Uro, so I get the extra card out of it. Alright. Don't love this, but here we go. Sorry, Jace. I hope I countered the correct surgical extraction. Alright, so let's take a look at this deck. Wow, there are 3 Wastelands in this deck. That's a nightmare. Alright, so they have Wastelands, no Rest in Peace, Dovin's Veto, 2 Surgicals, 2 Veils, Narset, no Days Undoing. Right, and they have Teferi, Sword of Fire, and Ice, Land in their hand. I'm still, like, in trouble here, especially if they find the Wasteland. Oh, I guess I lost information by waiting for the trigger to resolve, or by not waiting for the trigger to resolve, because now they just drew a card that I don't know about. Can I have a land, maybe? Ship me that island. Jeez. This deck plays 24 lands, by the way. Just saying. It's, that was 3 draw steps plus a ponder, so I've seen 7 cards. If they find one of their 3 wastelands before I start casting Strixes, I'm just screwed. This Teferi is going to be a problem anyway, but I already cast my only counterspell that's in the deck. But them getting to like ponder on my end step and stuff is also relevant and bounce my threats. Obviously, it's a problem. Island? Alright, don't avail of Summer. Sword's gone. Their hand is Flooded Strand. Let's go. Screw beats flood, right? That's the old magic adage. I am screwed. They're flooded. So they drew a card with Teferi after they made the land drop. If they were going to do that, they should have done it first in case they draw Wasteland. I do think they're correct to draw a card there, for what that's worth. Yeah, see, now they can start just chaining stuff together and bury me. And the Narset blanks the Baleful Strix. It's just a 1/1 now. Ugh. Alright, non-games. Non-games of Magic, they happen sometimes. The good news is they're under 5 minutes and don't have very many win conditions in their deck. So maybe we can just tread water here until the clock runs out. Narset finds Brainstorm. Brainstorm turns their hand into cards that do stuff. If they find a Stoneforge Mystic here, then they definitely turn the corner. If they don't, we get to keep goofing around for a while. Guess it's not even necessarily true. I do have the Fatal Push in my hand. Oh, they're going to cast Batterskull here. Yep, there's the Batterskull. I can Fatal Push the Germ, though we've seen this Force of Will if they did keep it with their Ponder, or with their Brainstorm, which, I mean, I can't imagine they wouldn't. It seems like a silly thing to not keep around in this position, especially. Jeez. Oh, time to start working through these counter spells. And they don't even need to force this. They can just minus Teferi, bounce Batterskull. I guess that they would lose Teferi for that. But over 2 turns, they could pick it up and just... I think that the correct play is to do that, but the clock does change the math a little bit. Like, given infinite time, I do think the correct play is to let Fatal Push resolve, keep your Force of Will over the next 2 turns, pick up your Batterskull and redeploy it. Green source? Not green card, green source deck. Yeah, so I'm 15 cards into my deck, including a Ponder, and only found one of my... 23 lands, sorry, I said 24 earlier. Yeah, this is just the backhand of variance, and is what it is. This game was totally winnable. I don't regret my keep. I don't regret how I played it. I just regret not drawing any lands. I made the horrendous punt of not drawing more lands. Green source. That one, that was something. On to the next round. That's just Magic sometimes. On the draw for round 3, I've kept this hand. It's got a Brainstorm, a fetch land, and some interaction. Bloodstained Mire, huh? That card usually is not in fair decks. So there's like Reanimator, Storm, Goblins, Grixis Control, I guess, could play this card. It's looking kind of stormy. It's either Storm or... So I'm going to push that. I don't think I'm going to... Or maybe I should Brainstorm first. Like, the question is, do I play around Daze? And I have a main deck Plague Engineer. I think I can afford to play into Daze. So Jace is not going to come up for a while, if at all. I would prefer Waterlogged Grove not to be my mana source in a matchup like this, but Triome might be even worse. With Loam, and I guess Grove might be fine with Loam, a fetchland, and a wasteland that completes the package. Yeah, so I'll put the Triome back. And I am going to push now. I probably want to get... So if this is some sort of Grixis control deck, I really want to get Bayou. If it's Delver, I really want to get Swamp. And the punish if they're Delver is much higher than the punish if they're control. Like if I just guess wrong. So I'm going to get the Swamp. Like if I just get Bayou, get Wastelanded, and get buried by Young Pyromancer, that's a worse outcome for me than if I just have to play on slightly worse mana against a fair deck. So Force Pitching Brazen Borrower. I'm not sure if Borrower would be in a fair deck, though it does answer Merit Lage and some other stuff you might care about. But I can decay the Pyromancer this turn, and then I guess put Strix or in front of Elementals, try to absorb damage. Uro does a good job keeping up with random 1/1s, and there is the main deck Plague Engineer lurking. Intuition can get Uro. Sprite Dragon. Okay, so this is a more aggressive deck. Baleful Strix can answer Sprite Dragon eventually, so I think I want to handle the Young Pyromancer first. Waterlogged Grove's looking real bad at this point. Get that out of there. They have 3 cards left in their hand. I'm at 14 with a Grove, so count it as like 12 or less, really, if this game goes very long. And I'm going to need it too. I feel like I win this game a lot on the play, but being on the draw. Like if I get that Wasteland under the Young Pyromancer, that buys me a bunch of time. Then I start loaming it, but instead, no good. And Lightning Bolt is just really good against Baleful Strix, even if they get the 2-for-1. So I can Wasteland the Valk. I think getting Triumph into play is going to be more important though. But Lightning Bolt is just really good here. Force of Will is really good here. Yep, Force of Will, pitching Daze. Alright, Daze confirmed. Triumph's in play, 3, 4, 5. I'm at 5, effectively at 5. I can trophy Sprite Dragon next turn, but if they just like do anything, like Expressive Iteration, okay. Yeah, this game's over. I actually kind of like this matchup for the deck. I mean, Uro's very good. We have a bunch of removal. Just didn't line up well here. And they're Grixis instead of blue-red, so they're flirting with some extra colors for some sort of extra power. We'll figure out what it is eventually. 5, 6, 7. We're literally dead to Lightning Bolt and mostly dead to anything else. So outs are this Ponder Bricks. I draw exactly Uro. I evoke Uro into Assassin's Trophy the Sprite Dragon. 6, 7, 8. That leaves me at 5. And then Uro comes back the next turn, and then I'm out of reach. That's exactly the sequence I need to occur. They did shuffle the Ponder. Alright, they had Lightning Bolt. Didn't matter. Okay. I was not optimistic about that game. Yeah, Zagoth Triome and Waterlogged Grove, that did highlight sort of the idea that this package isn't free. This like Uro Loam package comes at a cost, and that cost is that sometimes your lands aren't very good in the matchups you need them to be good in. So I don't love Force of Wills here. Jace is pretty bad against the hyper aggressive deck with Red Blast and Bolt in it. I like Leo. I like most of the removal. I'm not. Intuition is a little clunky, like same problem as Jace for the most part. I might just want to be on 0 Force of Wills. Full 0, forget about it. I am bringing in Flusterstorms to fight those like small ball sort of situations, but my deck is pretty good at beating a board if you don't end up too far behind. I think Crime is worse than Thoughtseize because picking off specific things like the Sprite Dragon or the Young Pyromancer that's about to deal a bunch of damage is more important. It's not like Burn where just quantity of discard is your primary goal. Like quality of discard matters more in this matchup. I think that looks good. On the play, I will go first. Sand needs a blue source real bad, but I think it's good. And like we certainly have game to play here. They don't have a Wasteland. They do have a Thoughtseize. They have Delver and Narset. Yeah, I'm going to take Delver. So if they fetch Underground Sea to Thoughtseize me, that turns on my Wasteland, and then we're both sort of in the scrap zone. Alright, they're just in on that. Seize me. So their deck is better at playing a low resource game than mine is, but at the same time, I know that their resources are low, and they don't necessarily... I guess we have perfect information, but like, I have this Strix that can dig out of it. I don't know if they have a second land at all. My deck plays Life from the Loam. Like if we do end up scrapping for a while here, that Ponder's real good. I really need to find a blue source and get this Strix going. They did not shuffle. Blue source. So I know that they play at least one basic land, so I'm going to hold on to Assassin's Trophy. We did see Basic Island in game 1. If this was a classic Grixis Delver 0 basics YOLO, I would trophy the sea. Alright, so they have some sort of 2-drop. Whatever this is, if I trophy it, that gives them the 3rd land to cast Narset next turn. And they could just play Spellbomb and leave up black mana to bomb me and draw cards. Alright, that's Delver. Right, I'm going to try to draw the land before I just start firing off spells. Bummer. Alright, fine. So I'm going to let them reveal for Delver, and then I'll decide what other actions I need to take. Okay. If they want their land, they're going to lose their Expressive Iteration. That card's really good. So they get to jam Narset here, but I have a second trophy. Okay, they didn't even do the Narset. Didn't prioritize that. Fair enough. Just really need a freaking blue land. I'd even take Waterlogged Grove at this point. I do not want the Triome, though. I'll specify my Monkey Paw wish. Let's try to make it as close to a regular wish as possible. Shit. Alright, now we just lose. Okay, so kept a hand that needed to find a blue source, and it did not. Alright, I'm just going to pack it in. We're not beating Narset, Lightning Bolt, Nile Spellbomb from this position. On to the next round. On the draw in round 4, this hand is not going to have color problems. We got 3 lands and life from the Loam. Let's do it. Alright, here comes Once Upon a Time. Without knowing what flavor of Once Upon a Time they are, I don't want to force it. There's some decks where it's right to do that, and some decks where it's right to figure out what they're up to. Angie's Ravager. Okay, so if they go all in on this LED on the Ravager, I can force Ravager, and then they have nothing. Okay, so they can have Rootwalla. Glad they didn't have a Vengevine. I'm going to force Ravager, and then I just have to beat this Rootwalla. Yeah, these LED Madness decks are decks that I've played on the channel a couple times before, and they're getting a lot of new tools in Modern Horizons too. Okay, so I'm not sure what would have to happen for them to be able to win this game. It's a long way off. Oh, wow, even better. I'm going to push in their upkeep. I'm not sure why that would matter with 1 card in hand, but it's just good practice to do that over there most of the time. And I can decay this LED if I think that's important, but I think casting Sylvan Library is what's going to matter the most. And I am going to develop Triome as a mana source, even though I have the Loam and that is like a card advantage engine. I think that just having solid mana is more important than anything else that's going on right now. Uro, that's who I was looking for. Okay, so Ponder on top, pay 4 for Uro. Then I get to cast Uro. Uro draws the Ponder and makes this land drop for me. Then I can Ponder into another land and play it. And then it's Uro versus the world over there. Blue, green. So I need Underground Sea because that's my blue source. Yeah, okay. I do still have a land drop. Ooh, is Intuition good? I don't think so. Like most of the spread here, like I already have Loam and Uro, which is 2 of the 3 things I would Intuition for, and their hand's empty, so Raven's Crime isn't helpful. This could get explodey. Like if they have some if they discard 2 Vengevines and then they're left with like cards they can actually cast. All right, Rootwallas. These do have haste because of Anger. The 1 land they played this game is a mountain, so Anger gets to party. They could even pump the Rootwallas, or one of the Rootwallas with LED if they want to deal an extra 2 damage. My hand is set up to deal with this, though. Between Strix, Decay, and Uro. Alright, top. I'm just going to cast Uro. Blue, green. I know I'm exiling the lands from my graveyard that Life from the Loam would be using, but just having a 6/6 in play with Force of Will backup against this opponent who's not really doing anything, that's where I want to be. And Intuition is the perfect card to pitch because, for the reasons I described, it's not very good in this spot. Maybe I'm supposed to be forcing those, like, in case they hit Vengevine, but a 6/6 is just bigger than a 4/3. Oh, this is Jund. Or, not Jund, Grixis? And Jund? 4 color? It's a lot of colors to have in a deck like this. I get to force this Ox of Agonis, and then the game is over. That's Escape 8. It's going to take a long time to get there. Alright, yeah, they scooped that up. Yeah, Ox was exactly the type of card that could get them back in this game, but not on my watch. Alright, so Plague Engineer is good. Liliana seems like it's good against most of their stuff. Crop Rotation for Bajuka Bog looks like it might be something I want. Actually, I don't think that's even true. So Surgical Extraction's good. Collector Oof turns off their Lion's Eye Diamonds if we get to that part of the game. Assassin's Trophy kills big things. Force of Will was really good, but I don't think I need Force of Negations. The Intuition I'm not into. Raven's Crime I'm not into. It's a shame we've played against Hogak and Madness in this league, because those are 2 matches that Raven's Crime is just actively terrible when I think it's one of the coolest pieces of tech in the deck. Right, I can slow down on Loams. I'll find one when I need it, but that's not a priority in this matchup. Leovold's fine. It can really punish Angie's Ravager starts. Ravager is like when it attacks, you discard your hand and draw 3, and it has to attack, so that's just your hellbent every turn. Strix is great. Maybe I just go down to 1 Loam. It's the survive the early game and clean up with what's left. Don't even really need to get into a deep Loam grind against this deck. Maybe Thoughtseize is bad on the draw. No, I'm just going to run it like this. We got a Force of Will, lands, brainstorms. I'll keep this. Our opponent's deck, while not really like a combo deck in the sense that it kills you, it is a combo deck in the sense that they're going to have a small number of important spells. Is that one of them? Maybe. I don't know. I might regret letting this resolve. But I have the Abrupt Decay for it eventually. Okay, so drawing the Bayou is good. That means I can get Underground Sea and cast Ponder this turn. Or Tropical Island. Does that matter? Do I want more blue or more green? Or more black or more green? I think I want more green in this deck, so I'm going to get Trop. Liliana's awfully good here. I can't cast her for a long time, though. Maybe I just shuffle this. Yeah, none of those are really paying off anytime soon. So I can Force of Will, a scary play this turn, decay their enabler, and then hope that we're good. Like, I'm not ready to fire off forces on this, but now that I see Faithless Looting in the deck, I guess I should have assumed it was there, but Force of Negation's probably better. Yeah, there's a hollow one coming here. I'll fight over this. It's a 4/4 with haste. They might have more than one, but I definitely don't want to take 8, even if I'm committed to taking 4. So I can decay Imp, and I'm going to take at least 8 from this hollow one. Unless I draw Assassin's Trophy. I'm so smart and good at this game. Alright, so just like in the previous round, I think making sure this happens is more important than the low percentage that they'll draw their only basic. Alright, they just don't even have basics. Get out of here. That was the threshold to give Putrid Imp +1/+1, but Abrupt Decay mops that up next turn. Oh wow, do I hate that. The aesthetic, actual Badlands and this Badlands, just Moto laying them on top of each other. Don't like it. Okay, so I'm going to Brainstorm. My hand's full of goop, and I got cards to play. Thoughtseize isn't what I want here. I think I just crack on this thing. Yeah, with them drawing wild, and they have LED as a discard outlet anyway, like I'm just likely to crack that off, and why would I give them the chance to discard something they want to discard if I don't have to? We finally found a use for their looting. Okay, we are stable, and they're digging. I was about to say we need to find a payoff now, and I just found a big one. If I find like Surgical Extraction or something here just to pad up the stats, I would feel good. Leovold turns off Lootings, Ox of Agonis, Angie's Ravager. Just all of the cards that could reasonably get them back into this game. Happy to settle into a longer game with this Sylvan Library. Green, black, blue. Alright, Leo. You're up. Win this game for me. Oh, they have a 2/2 flying haste. I guess they have to discard to give a flying, but that is one way to do it. Alright, this is a zombie. I can cast all of the cards in my hand, so I will. Oh, no, I can't. I have to choose. How do I want to do this? Do I want these cards? I think Trophy is something I'm going to want. Engineer really doesn't do what I need it to. Yeah, I'm just going to draw the Trophy. Yeah, if they discard a card to give it flying, then I can zap it afterwards. Because it doesn't do anything if they don't let it fly. Alright, they're just shipping. Black, green. Alright, so now I can cast all the spells in my hand. I think I am naming Lizard with Plague Engineer. Lizard gets Rootwalla, which is the card that they can just throw out of nowhere for free. Like, if their hand is 2 Rootwallas and they crack their LED for green, that's actually just 6 damage. If I don't have it otherwise covered. Zombie. Gonna give it flying, or give me the trade? Alright, I'm gonna take the trade. So that is interesting that they were ready to commit that card. Top. I'm not paying any extra life. Just gonna bash. So, Leovold go. Then Uro. Puts in field. And more importantly, puts me to 10. Clears an extra card for the library. And then next turn, I get to bring back Uro. And they have to kill me right now through a Leovold. Alright, we did it. On the board, 2-2, going into the final round, playing for the positive record. Let's do it. Well, I'm on the draw with this hand that has a lot of control over itself, so I'm going to keep. If they are a Chalice of the Void deck or Cabal Therapy deck, I could be in some trouble. I don't think you ship hands like this. I'm going to lead on the Vista. I don't want to get blown out by a Wasteland. I'll just fetch now. I don't necessarily expect Stifle to be in a black-green deck, but I don't want to get Stifled if I don't have to, so let's just... That's going to be an island, so just get it while you know it's safe. I don't want anything weird to happen, like they play a land, then Cabal Therapy me. If they... Alright, yeah. If they Ghost Quarter me, that gives me a free shuffle off the Brainstorm. Okay, so there's some sort of Reclaimer deck. We get the old Brainstorm into Ponder combo. This Wasteland's going to be good eventually. Field of the Dead is not good for a long time here. And I don't think I want this Tropical Island in the mix right now. If they have Ghost Quarter, they probably don't have Wasteland, so I'm going to get the Trop that I just got rid of and cast Ponder. I think the Wasteland, I mean, it's not going to surprise them, but the Wasteland's going to be good against them setting up a Dark Depths over a 2-turn cycle. And I'm actively seeking an answer to this Reclaimer. There it is. Okay, let's do it. The whole game plan is laid out ahead of us. You just gotta see if it maneuvers through their plan. Oh geez, they are a Wasteland deck. Well, fuck me. I am surprised by that. Unless they're just not doing what I thought they were doing. That's the answer. They're not doing what I thought they were doing. Maybe this is just classic slow depths. The deck has not been a deck for a very long time. Lean into this Wasteland, I guess, because I can't play around it. Force of Will is nice if they have like Loam or Crop Rotation or something that would get another Wasteland. I can at least delay that slightly. Ghost Quarter is not great against my deck. Pretty happy to trade off with Dark Confidant. I'm happy to trade off with either one of these that would attack. Because my plan is, if they attack, block whichever one attacks, and then Brainstorm or Ponder into the other mana source to Abrupt Decay, the one that's left. Because if we get into a board state where they aren't generating card advantage every turn, my deck's going to run away. Okay, so what do I do with this information? All right, that's good. That does cast the Abrupt Decay that I'm looking for. Loam is solid. I think I am going to want that eventually, but not right now. Put up a wall of Force of Wills. And then I'm going to go to my end step and see if they do anything. They could end step, rotate for Thespian Stage, then make a main phase Merit Lage, in which case I'm in quite a bit of trouble. But I'm hoping they don't play around Wasteland. Like, they're playing around bounce spells versus Wasteland here, basically. I suspect Reclaimer will be activated in the end step. I don't want to decay first, because then they could reclaim for Sajiri step and just mush me, just counter my spell. So I'm going to let them do what they're going to do first. And then I have to decide if I want to be killing Bob or Reclaimer. And Reclaimer makes Wasteland pretty bad. They could actually just rotate for Wasteland right now, but then they're down 2 lands. Yeah, what I decay will depend on what they get, but I'm probably going after Reclaimer. So they did get the stage. I'm going to zap the Reclaimer. If I get them with this Wasteland, I don't want them to be able to rebuild. Also, Reclaimer lets them play around Wasteland. We know they have Verdant Catacombs in hand. They can just main phase Merit Lage right now. That looks like it's going to happen. Can I actually beat that? I have Jace that can bounce Merit Lage. Baleful Strix can buy time along the way. Yeah, they're just going for it. Okay, time to find Jace. And they get to attack with Bob, because if I block Bob, then I don't have the blocker for Merit Lage that I'm going to need. Alright, they missed their attack. I'll take it. I gotta find Jace. That's my only out, right? Yes. In the sideboard I have the Caracas, but main deck, it's Jace. Jace, only Jace. Jace or bust. Library can dig. Brainstorm can dig. Don't want Thoughtseize. Do I want Thoughtseize? I might want Thoughtseize. I don't want Raven's Crime. And do I have to cast Loam this turn just to see new cards out of my deck? But then I don't get to find the Jace. Yeah, this is bad. We're having a bad time right now. Opponent's over there like, nice Wasteland. And I'm like, yeah, thank you. They have 3 crop rotations. My god. They don't have 3 lands to rotate though. So I'll take Reclaimer. Cast Library. So gotta hope they found a great source. Ugh. Just saying, I hope they're not able to cast 3 crop rotations this turn. I couldn't even really beat 2 because I need to keep Brainstorm in hand, but I can in fact pitch Force for 2 of these crop rotations because they get Sajiri step and then just attack through Strix. That's the play. And I have 2 blanks on top of my deck. The third one down has to be... It can't even be Jace because I don't have double blue. Yeah, I'm just dead. Yeah, I think maybe I just didn't give them enough respect, my opponent, to make the correct play, because I definitely should have just put Wasteland in play to make sure I don't die to Merit Lage. Maybe I overestimated my ability to remove a Lage. Yeah, we're dead. Yeah, I think I definitely made some sort of macro strategic error there of like, oh, I got to answer these creatures, but then didn't convert the plan that I needed to on the turn I needed to do it, meaning that there came a point where it was like, now Merit Lage is scarier than Dark Confidant, and I didn't recognize it or take the appropriate action about it. So Intuition's going to get cut. So I've cut this card a lot, which makes me wonder if it should even be in the deck. So this was my addition to the deck, and it's the card that I've been subtracting from the deck too. Again, unfortunately, this is not a Raven's Crime matchup. So we've got Assassin's Trophies and Caracas. These trophies kill Dark Depths. Caracas bounces Merit Lage. Crop Rotation can get the Caracas. Liliana does fight well against Dark Confidant. So does all the removal that's already in my deck. I don't think I want my Thoughtseizes. Jace does bounce a Merit Lage. Don't think I want Force of Negation. Not sure how many counter spells I actually want at all. This is currently 5 and 5. Do I want to turn some of these forces into flusters is a question worth asking. The answer is probably no. Do I need all 3 Loams? The answer is probably yes. Do I want Plague Engineer? That can name Human for Bob. It can also name Vampire to just make sure Hex Mages don't happen to me. I think I do want Engineers. It can also kill the Sylvan thing, 1/1 elf. Sylvan Safekeeper, that's what it's called. Maybe I don't need all 3 Loams. Yeah, with the crop rotation for Caracas now as part of the plan, Loam isn't as desperately important. Maybe Liliana's better than Plague Engineer, but Liliana doesn't pre-answer Vampire Hexmage. It's too late by the time that comes into play. I can keep this. It's not super exciting, but it does, like if they have Reclaimer, if they have like a Reclaimer or Bob hand, this Fatal Push into Library is really nice. If they just like Thoughtseize me, take my library, it's gonna look terrible. But we'll see. See where it goes. This time I know I need to play around Wasteland as well as Ghost Quarter. Uh-oh. Shit. See you later, Sylvan Library. We had a good run. Brainstorm? Alright, Force of Will, right on time. I'm going to play the Grove because I'm likely to just draw a card this turn if nothing else materializes. Alright, sure. My hand didn't get any better. Oh, they're on a 1-lander over there. Come on, Wasteland. Alright, Engineer's not bad. My functional Bayou here, along with my functional Triome. Alright, so they know that I can answer a creature. They also know I can't answer that. I think I've given these creatures a little too much respect. Or they just didn't draw any. I'm just going to make sure they don't Merit Lage me right now. Because I can answer all the other creatures in their deck, but if they just poop out Merit Lage right now, that's no good. Yeah, exactly what I said. Discard spell collapses this hand. If they have discard spells instead of Reclaimer, but they went Inquisition Duress instead of Reclaimer Bob. And look at this hand. Reclaimer, Bob, bury them, but cut the wrong way. That's what I said back in the deck tech of this deck has the tools for everything, but you do have to draw them in the correct order or they can line up poorly, and that's what's going on right now. Alright, that was the worst of them. That's the only one that didn't matter, really. Alright, they're just working through my removal spells. Hey. Alright, so this puts me at 22 life, which gets me out of immediate Merit Lage range. Kill that. And now I have Jace, so it's starting to work. Also, Uro is just... They discarded 3 cards, so Uro is juiced up, ready to show up. Like, normally I'd be worried about a discard spell because Jace is important, but if I need to Force of Will losing Jace to stay alive, Uro is right there to clean up. And I can get Underground Sea and Tropical Island, which make the blue and green that I'm missing. So if they go like Depths Hexmage right now, I'm not going to force that. It's just not going to happen. Not the plan. Let's just get Uro into play. Sea, green, green, blue, blue. Force, Library, Fatal Push, Misty, Plague Engineer. I was exiling cards that I don't want them to be able to surgical because I have a Force in my hand and I just drew a Plague Engineer, which I didn't know, but I knew there was another one in the deck. And if they surgical cards they care about from my graveyard, I don't want them to also hit cards out of my hand. Now I'm actually pretty well set up. If they main phase Merit Lage, I can bounce it with Jace. If they don't do that, then like I have Uro just doing fair stuff. And I can protect Uro or the Jace with Force Pitching Brainstorm if necessary. And they've had Library in play this whole time, so it's a little scary. I think we're mostly doing a good job right now. Crop rotation. I'm not going to fight over that. There's the Depths. Probably a Hex Mage. So Hex Mage, what can I do about that? I can just force it, I guess. Yeah, let's just keep that out of play. If they have another one, then they're tapped low enough that they can't reclaim. Like, I was worried about them on their turn, like, floating black, making Merit Lage, then they have 2 mana floating to crop rotate into Sejiri Step. I'm not even sure if that works, but I don't want to take the risk. Right, there's Bob. So I can Engineer on Human and take out the trash here. Ooh, I guess I Loam first. Yeah, Engineer on Human. Wait, is this a wizard? Oh, it's a Shaman. Bummer. Alright. Or this is an advisor anyway. No, it's a wizard. What am I talking about? Weird creature types. I'm not going to dredge Loam. I am going to put Waterlog Grove into play. So I'm at 25, so I can take 2 hits from Merit Lage if I have to. And they're at 3, so they don't get any extra cards off library. And I have Jace that can bounce Merit Lage if they main phase it. So they need discard spell plus Merit Lage plus a way to survive my combat for 2 turns. There's that. I'm just going for it. So if they have 1 mana, not dredging Loam, I do want spells. Okay, this I think locks in the victory. So I do this, black. Oh, and I should use my black source, black green. Yeah, so now I know that this is safe to do. Jace. Alright, now you're dead. Yeah, there was a possibility that if their last card in hand is Spirit Guide, they could have reclaimed for Sejuri Step to protect from a bounce if I didn't have an answer to Reclaimer first. Okay, stressful stuff. Slow Depths is, I haven't played against it in a long time. They have a lot of creatures, and you just gotta split your attention in 2 different ways. Though we haven't seen Mox Time, and this might not be Slow Depths. This might just be like Depths that has had slow hands. Though, seeing Hexmage and Bob, I think I want Liliana in against the Fair Plan. Who is not as good? Snapcaster is fine. Fatal Push was pretty awkward that game, but maybe it was better than I thought. From my side, they were casting like Inquisition and things and just leaving me with removal spells when they didn't have any creatures, but maybe they weren't casting the creatures because they knew I had removal spells. So there is some push and pull there, the war of information. And the removal spells did end up all finding targets. So I guess I'll take that. What is not as good here? Maybe Liliana's just bad, and I'm blowing smoke. Plague Engineer does mostly the same thing, but also, like I said, has the proactive Name Vampire line available to it that Liliana doesn't. Also, Liliana just dies to Vampire Hexmage. Like, even if they do put Hexmage into play, and I play Liliana in plus, they sack Hexmage to kill Liliana in response. And it's just an Abrupt Decay at that point that costs 3 and is a sorcery. Alright, we got Assassin's Trophy, and some selection, 3 mana of all our colors. This is a keep. Sign me up. This hand's pretty resilient against discard too, because I have so many unique things going on. They probably take the Ponder and try to work their way up the discard chain here, unless they just take the trophy, but then I get to Ponder and they lose the information. Guess we'll find out. Yeah, they took Ponder, fair enough. Fatal Push. Fatal Push is a good one, because if they move in on a creature this turn, they'll think I have to trophy on my turn and ramp them. Like, that is a little bit different than the line that they may expect, but that one's pretty good. I can still destroy it, but it is pretty good. All right, so I want to play around Wasteland since I can. I'm gonna go green, black, snow-covered swamp. Ramping this deck is not really what I want to be doing, but at the same time, I definitely don't want them to have Sylvan Library. Time to find out how many basics they play. They already have 2 in play. It's also possible this just isn't the right way to play this matchup. Like, oh wow, all their basics are accounted for. That was nice. All right, just a clean answer to that. I like. It's possible, like I started to say, it's possible that maybe I'm just supposed to sit on Assassin's Trophy until they hang Dark Depths in front of me. I'm not feeling like that's true. And now Leovold. I've bridged the gap up into Leovold. Don't Thoughtseize me. Okay, they Needle. Yeah, I don't care about that. So they probably name Wasteland with this, which is nice because then I don't have to worry about Wasteland. But it's bad because then I don't get to Wasteland. Alright, so green, black, and blue. Leovold blanks Sylvan Library. So that's under control. Bridge the gap from that one turn where they would have pulled ahead. Hexmage, so they could crop rotate right now. Alright, so I have Fatal Push for both of these creatures. Push, snap, push. Yeah, and then we're just in. Okay, Underground Sea. Fatal Push. Snapcaster Mage. Fatal Push. Bam. Now they're Hellbent facing down a Leovold with neither half of their combo in play, and next turn I'll be holding up Hardcast Force. Not bad. That was a pretty good draw. But they still are under a lot of pressure. Uro, always happy to see you. So now I'm above 20 life, so Merit Lage isn't lethal. Get to attack for 5. There's no way they're going to block here. So they're on a pretty quick clock. And I'm holding up the Force, and I get Uro next turn. I think that holding up Force for a turn is better than Pondering. Though, no, there's no way that's true. Yeah, so I get Uro next turn, basically regardless. Oh, the one fold in this plan is, nope, I can get basic island and still Uro with this polluted delta. For a second, I thought that I could only get Bayou, which doesn't cast Ponder, but I can get basic island and do what I need to do here. All right, I'm feeling pretty good about this game. Basic island, Ponder, Strix. I can pitch to force. It also blocks Merit Lage if it needs to. Maybe Bob will just flip Blightsteel Colossus and they die. I've had that happen, but not in this format. And that card is definitely not in this deck. Ghost Quarter revealed off Bob. So their hand is Ghost Quarter and one mystery card. If they Ghost Quarter me, I get to draw a card from Leovold. And I don't think there's one card in their deck that makes Merit Lage. That was a good attack. Bob's not blocking. Might as well attack with it. So now they're deciding if they think they can Ghost Quarter me off the correct number of lands to Uro. But I have a second island and a second forest in the deck, so no matter which one they go for, I just get to draw a card and still Uro. The swamp's the only one I can't replace, but it's the one I don't care about. I mean, obviously they'd go for a dual land though, but I mean, for my total color count, they can't take me off blue, blue, green, green right now. All right, there's the decay that I put there. Gonna make my attacks. You're at 5. I guess if they drew removal, they could kill Leovold and unlock Sylvan Library for a turn. All right, yeah, not the case. Green, green, blue, blue. I've already played my only Snapcaster Mage, so I don't need to worry about what spells I'm leaving in my graveyard. This Uro trigger will put me at a 21, and I still have the Force either way. Underground Sea and Trop are both in play, so I can't fetch and cast Baleful Strix here, so I'm not going to. I can get Bayou and kill Bob. Maybe I should do that. Do I care about that? I don't think I do. Yeah, like their life total is getting pretty sparse, but they have one card in hand. I guess if their one card is Veil of Summer, I would turn on a cantrip while putting myself back to 20 life. So if their one card is Veil of Summer, this Force of Will is already dead. I just don't think I need to cast spells right now, so I'm not going to. Bob revealed Crop Rotation. That's a good one to Force of Will. And they're out of here. Can't beat it. So put up a 3-2. Positive record. Got that treasure chest. I think Intuition was bad. I don't think the second Raven's Crime is the answer, but you don't need Intuition. Unfortunately, Raven's Crime didn't get to go off. I think the Loam package might be a little deep here, having both Triome and Waterlog Grove. I feel like you want one or the other, and it's probably Waterlog Grove. Like, I would probably cut Triome for maybe main deck the Caracas, but that doesn't solve the problem of needing colors on time. Maybe just have more dual lands. This is the full one of, if you didn't notice, it's 1 Bayou, 1 Trop, 1 Sea, 1 Forest, 1 Island, 1 Snow Forest, 1 Snow Island, 1 Swamp, with fetch lands to tie all together. I think the Triome, like one of these, do your testing, figure out which one is better, but I'm pretty sure Waterlog Grove is better because casting spells is important. I would turn this into something else, something more reliable, maybe another Trop. Turn Intuition into a spell that's actually helpful, and turn Triome into another tropical island. Those are my thoughts at the end of this league. The sideboard was pretty good. I liked the Crop Rotation with the Bog Caracas package. The one Jace was good, one Leo was good. I like the rest of this deck. Field of the Dead only came up once, but it won the game that it came up. And that it's pretty reasonable. Like, just bug stuff. Like we saw, we had the tools to beat everything. If they didn't line up right, or we didn't get our mana under us, we lost. If we got to make decisions and cast spells, we won. And over long events, you're going to win more than you lose, assuming you're making good decisions with your opportunities. But I do like this style of deck, and just minimizing ways where your cards don't line up right is going to be the way to tune it. So thanks for watching, Hunter.